map. Now listen, two very different compositions these teams are bringing out. A core three that remain the same across the board, but which one draws your eye more? What do you like the look of here, Tom?
Well, it's interesting because I'd say that from what we've seen so far, I would probably lean the way of LEV. I think that Sato is fantastic in this position. And the thing is, though, it's like I like the Sage, but on the defense more so. And if they can deny some of that defensive side aggression from LEV by being in the right place at the right time, I think this comp could be a good counter. But with how Sato played on the last map, I don't, like, if you're trying to counter this man, he might rip your head off before you can even think.
Well, I've certainly seen a few counter shots from Yudoton in that previous as well. Wall already used here, as we can see Leviathan finding the first pickup and then fading out, giving up heaven control, but isolated on this side is Spikeseen. He's all alone, and he's left that way. He's cleared the sight of all attackers, and a flawless pistol round for Leviathan follows.
The saying is you can live to see yourself die alone, or something along those lines. My man just didn't die. He just stayed alive at the back. And while absolute destruction in the pistol round, and that was a big part of that previous map as well. The fact that they were able to get those pistols over the line, they were able to put themselves in a position that ended up just closing out the map in very close contention. If you're GE, you probably feel a little bit hard done by. A pistol round genuinely could have made all of the difference. But in this round, it is, again, more of the same. Wanting to get those orbs under their belt, claiming the first early on B, running all the way to the other side to get the second. But with how little is invested here, Mitch, expectations, I would say if they get a kill, they've done well.
Yeah, well, I mean, getting the two orbs already is going to be a challenge if Leviathan keep holding the angles they're on. They're ready for the fight up top, but it is only a judge on Spikeseen, so he can't really take the fight to them. And in fact, they're going to, although we thought this was a step forward to grab the orb, maybe it will be when the wall goes up. Numbers have started to shift in the other direction. They're even going to get caught by the Prowler on purpose. Yudotan's trying to bait them in. Trying to show some presence on this side of the map and step forward, grab the orb, make some noise, let them know that this is the side that they're looking to fight on while the others walk into B, but it's not left open. Leviathan, they're wise to these tricks. They just played two maps where GE were doing the same thing, and they won't let them get away with it again. Good work by Neon, and another flawless round for Leviathan. A clean lead built up.
Yeah, exactly what they're looking for. They can come into this next round with rifles across the board, bar a singular judge, which, okay, it's not as strong as it used to be, but I think we've already seen that even going back to map one, the Neon can still be incredibly strong. Maybe the judge can too. And as their lead builds, it feels like so does that confidence for Leviathan. That first map seeming more like the outlier than the defining factor, and that's what I was kind of expecting with the slows. Like, you know that your opponents like to get aggressive, so throwing those in early. But I also like what Neon did. He's jumping out, gets the info, but it's part of a TP to get away. He can't be trapped there, and he still spots players.
GE spread across the map, putting pressure on mid, looking for someone to step out of line. Seems very unlikely to happen towards this A site. Prowler sees nothing there. Did it see nothing? I think Autumn might have shot it. Went down very early, and they certainly know he's around this area now. The first map, this would have already seen the rotate start to the A site, but as we said, Leviathan are more than aware of how GE like to work this attack side, how they've been exploited in this series already, and so as GE gear up for this B hit, there's still going to be numbers waiting. The idea to send Autumn late through mid. Actually, he's going to find a lot of empty space there.
30 seconds
30 seconds left.
3 players make that 4 already here for the defenders. The read is almost perfect. The crossfire's working out as well. As one player goes down, the swings are immediate. And this is a problem for Global. Nice work from Patman and Autumn alongside him. The spike looking to be planted, 12 seconds left. He's got an isolated battle, but Autumn is quick enough. It is a dangerous bonus, as we said at the beginning, and maybe a little bit too close. Nonetheless, GE do have their first round.
Yeah, definitely a lot of blows traded out by LEV there, but GE with a lot of patience as well. Starting on the mid control, pushing them back, and the question mark that created was enough for Leviathan to decide to rotate through spawn, opened up the door for Autumn, and once they get to the site, their pace was perfect. They start to move towards the smokes, but they don't burst out into that space for the fights until Autumn's ready to come in and back them up. Nicely done. And now the full buy from Leviathan, a much stronger round from the defense. GE with a very different approach as well. Last round was waiting for aggression. They had 1B, 1A, 3 mid. This time, everything given up. With 120 on the clock, it's pack mentality outside A.
Depends how long it's going to take Leviathan to realize. Blows' job is just to try and slow them down, and the pre-fire almost takes him out completely. They managed to keep control, though, of those rafters, and now look to swing together.
It's this quick retake by Leviathan, though. Numbers on ramp already. 3 men have made it down, but Autumn again trying to wrap around behind them late, trying to be that thorn in the side. Unitron has taken a double. Autumn's not even needed in this play, and now Neon left with almost no choice. 1v4. It's time to go to the other side of the map, tuck in, and hope to carry that rifle through to the next. A great round for GE, though only losing Unitron, who was grandstanding in the middle of the site, and he took 2 with him.
Yeah, I like the way they adapted to that, though, because you look at the fact that Heaven Control was completely in the hands of the defenders. I think that initially Blows did a great job to just make sure they can't just run up and take that for free. It makes the retake so much more difficult. But then, as you sort of said it, they implant Autumn in a deeper position. He's then left smoked off, and then Yudoton is just watching that angle. And okay, there's a little bit of disruption thrown in at the same time from Patman, who's TP'd up to almost use the gap in the wall. And then when Yudoton is hitting those shots, it makes things that little bit more easy. Economy damaged. Leviathan's early lead taken from the pistol and follow-up now reduced. They don't have too much to play with in this one.
It really was Patman in that last round with huge impact. 1 kill was all it took to leave them with basically no added layer to that push out of ramp. Spike scene, that's a big risk. Walking through that side of the orb, visible by basically everywhere in mid, and there were 3 players staring right back at him. Of course, you're going to take risks in a round like this where there's weak weapons in play for Leviathan. They get nothing, bar a bit of information for the first fight. Now, this is a bit more dangerous, but they've just spotted Blows. Does well to find even the 1, and despite some damage being done, this will be a hard round to take out of GE's hands. They have a showstopper if they need it, and that's probably a big win if Leviathan can make them pop that ult.
Neon at least managed to get his rifle back, but you can see the positioning from Patman as well. A late smoke thrown in. Now he's flanking a man who thinks he probably has a wraparound, although timing here could be quite important. Does Patman actually turn around? No, he does not. Okay. That's at least a gun into the hands of Sato, but can they get anything more from this? Time-wise, probably not. It is ticking fairly fast, and with Yudoton putting... what? That's a mistake. Yeah. You can see by his face. That was not the plan whatsoever. But it's going to end up clearing out Sato. Yeah, definitely not a part of the plan from Yudoton, but hey, he gets a kill for it at least.
Well, he sent his missile, the namesake, out. Fair enough. Might not have been necessary, like you say. I'm 99% sure that was a misclick, or it's one of the most audacious end-of-round plays I've seen in a long time. 3-2 nonetheless. GE find themselves the lead, and Leviathan are feeling the pressure. They have taken this moment to call a timeout.
I think it shows the headspace of GE, though. Like, you are in a third map of your opening. and something that could end up as a coin-based win condition is just having that sort of positivity. You've made a mistake in what is a pretty big game for you, but you've closed out the round and you've won 3 rounds in a row. And as said, in the last map, those pistols ended up almost being a saving grace for Leviathan because they only just close it out 13-11. But the fact that GE has got off to such a good start, and when you look back to at least the last couple of times they played this map, their defense was very good. And I think that sort of sits true to this composition. Having a lot available for delay. I think LEV have realized very early on that, okay, we need to chat to owner. We need to come up with something here on the defensive side because at least the last round, that wasn't particularly close.
Oh, they've had their moment. Chat with the coaching staff, and now we're right back into the game. The barriers will go up, and it's time for them to apply whatever they've learned from the big brain in the coach booth. GE, pack mentality. 5 players sitting outside A. No control across the map. This is, they have got a sentinel, but yeah, quite in that way.
If they don't go A, it's going to take them a very long time to go anywhere else, but clearly very confident in their A site take, especially when you have a Nightfall. We've seen this already, the throw put out, then they have the wall put up top. Once they can get it on the cross, the thing is that the defense are already here. They're already ready once again to try and go for this retake down the ramp, but last time they got shut out.
They dealt with a TP attempt from Patman, so no heaven control now for GE to work with. They're sitting down on the site, waiting for Leviathan to come to them. Remember, last time, Autumn in the same position wasn't spotted, wasn't needed, so he can hold that deep into the round. The Sage wall has to be broken. The slow goes in right away. More time bought, more delay. But the paranoia, oh, it's lined up perfectly. It's going to catch so many. 3 players blinded by that, but Abby and Crystal, they still manage to find their kills. Numbers sit heavily in favor of GE, and King might have bought himself a way out, a way to save this weapon with that kill, but no chance anymore for the round to go their way. Leviathan, after the pause, it's the same result.
I really like the sort of small differences we're seeing from GE. Like, you think back to that prior round, okay, they still didn't have that heaven control, but they put the wall up there, and then they TP up to the wall. This time, they put it towards the spawn. You have Javi sat on it the whole time. Okay, you break my wall, I'm going to just put slows in. And then they get up close in contact. Sure, the spams help them a lot, but also that paranoia is going to near sight you. It's not going to leave you completely blinded. Come on. They seem to be enjoying themselves. You can understand why. 4 rounds in a row. That A site take has caused so many issues that look at the defense in this round, Mitch. They are about to try and fight them for A control, and they're not there.
Yeah, indeed. 3 players go running up. See, absolutely nothing but GE. They've taken a loss early on. Patman down and out, and Patman right back in. No spams to take him out of the round, and Autumn has just spotted 1. Make it 2 inside the vents. A trade at least for GE. Let's see how they deal with this situation at 3v4.
Heaven Phoenix. Phoenix or P. I don't see it. Stairs. I'm holding heaven. Heaven 1. Wait, happy.
Last player standing.
Left side.
And
good damage there.
Oh, it's a narrow margin, but Leviathan just about find the round.
Yeah, I think it's one of those moments where it seems like Neon is almost doing more than his fair share. Like being able to just delay them enough, playing around the edge of the smokes, and that might even be the reason they go for that heavy A presence, because they go, even if they go B, that's the guy that's been causing them issues so far. I think that the deaths he's had have mostly been when he's rotating towards A. I think it was 6-1 other than that. Another big round for a man that has been talked up an awful lot coming into this tournament. But you can understand why. Autumn has just taken a nasty amount of damage.
It was a headshot through the wall. Lucky that he was that close to it. Oh, the TP's almost got King off, and it will indeed. Patman putting the numbers now in their favor despite early damage, and now the pressure onto Neon, who has to just back out. Spikes in, though! He goes up into heaven. Saddle by his side, and now the advantage no longer in the hands of GE. The plant not found, and they rotate. What? But Autumn! Tag from the early fight still wins the battle. But Neon has been the danger man. can be this time. But a gamble has to be made, and of course, he heard the snake bite. He thinks now it's the A hit, but
He's had the
soon he'll find out the plants on the other side.
He's made the realization, though. He'll be here maybe a little bit sooner than expected. Autumn might even be caught walking away, and he will! Just as the Viper's Pit blooms, they thought they had more time. A 1v1 to take it home, but it's Crystal to save the day. It looked like it will be another round when Neon just takes over. A sublime read, but Crystal keeps them in the lead.
What a try it was from the man, currently sitting 10-4. The beating heart of Leviathan on this defensive side, but flatlined in the final second. So lucky to catch that Viper. The timing was perfect. The read after the snake bite went down. He connected the dots, but he couldn't get the full picture in time. Now 3-5. GE again with a decent lead, and it might just be about to get that little bit better with a very low buy coming in from Leviathan. Viper's Pit could definitely help them out, though.
Oh, it's safe to say that they believe in the Bandit. 4 purchased. A Viper's Pit thrown in. Spike Zine ultimate available. They're going to try and just pad what they have in this round with those ults. Problem once again, though. Well, firstly, they've lost the opening pick, but also that B site only defended by Neon. And in any other round, I've been a believer, but he does only have a pistol this time out. His spams are still causing them issues, though. Looking like he might try and get a little bit cheeky around this.
Yeah, I do think that GE are ready for that. Something about the 3 rifles pointed at that choke point gives it away. And there it is. Did they realize? Yes, they did. They saw the elbow. Neon, whether it was paranoia or smoke, he was lining up. Don't get a chance to put it out as King falls. This round looking like it's done.
30 seconds left.
And indeed, unless Spike Zine's got an ace up his sleeve, it will be.
I think there's going to come a time where they have to start trying to deal with Autumn. Like his lurks around the map, think back to the last round, it was just a general irritation. And even when they knew where he was, it's still causing them mass amount of problems. We saw it in prior rounds where they go for that A push-up to try and clear that lurker out of the side of the map, and then it's not there. That's what GE have done quite well. They've had these all-in rounds where they're all together, they're all pushing an angle, and then they've had these other rounds where you just have Autumn on the other side of the map. And it feels like each time they try and pick the round where he's not going to be there, they're wrong.
Yeah, again, going back to Pearl, that was the kind of vibe we had. It wasn't about the lurks, instead about where the hits were coming through. The fakes from GE were sublime. They've had some great attack sides here. A 9-3 possible. That would be a big blow to Leviathan moving to the next half. We haven't seen those signs of the defensive side connecting consistent rounds just yet.
It's just been Neon's B-site hold, and they're going to challenge him once again. This time, though, a showstopper sent through. He's managed to escape. His life has held a lot of value in this map so far. The showstopper will give them space. Already wall being broken, but in the meantime, the spike has gone through, and the attackers wanted to try and push even further forward, not wanting to be trapped in. Even still, though, damage being done. That lurk again! He seems to have an opponent catching him almost every time, but he still wins those fights. Good trades back, though. Make it interesting, enough so that Sato has used his ult. King also gets rid of Yudatan. Somehow, this might just be competitive.
Oh, it was nearly favored to Leviathan there. Javi lucky to still be alive, and Crystal, well, he's playing a risky game. The swing in, good, you thought! They went together! They found Javi alone, and, well, I guess he found them. 7-3 now. It looked like Leviathan had a chance, but the light is going dim on that side of the stage as GE climbed further and further into the lead.
They were tunnel visioned. They were chasing that last man ring around a Rosie, and instead it was Javi to catch them. His ult now available for the next as well, and you can understand why this second pause is coming in. A 7-5 half, okay, it wouldn't be great considering you won the pistol in second round, but it feels like those last 2 rounds are going to be the Coinbase win condition, because if you go in a 9-3 deficit into this GE comp, which, as said, I think has looked better defensively, And I start to feel very nervous.
I can think of at least 3 rounds so far where Autumn's flanks have had huge potential.
Yeah.
I can think of at least one more where his flank was a safety net that they didn't even need to go near. And at this stage, I cannot think that this pause is about anything else but addressing that. The fact that they've caught him in so many of the rounds, like you said, you think about sewers, you think about there in mid, a player swings, has a gun pointed at him, and Autumn somehow reacts. Whether he doesn't have his weapon or whether he's looking the wrong way, it doesn't matter. He ends up walking out of there with most of his HP and an advantage for the team. That cannot be happening. Even some of the time it shouldn't be happening. It's happening every time.
Well, there is a reason that this guy flexes between this Viper and, you know, like a Phoenix or something. He has that raw individual skill. He's had it for quite a while. There was a reason that teams were willing to take that risk of picking him up in China. It was because of the flair that he brings to the server. But yeah, it feels like in some of the cases, the LEV players should have been hitting those shots. He has managed to get away with it other than Neon. Neon has been having his moments. The last round, of course, he was completely forced out. And well, surely Patman's not just going to be able to walk all the way through. He's heard the rotation, and now he's just waiting. It's a good check, though. A very good check from SpikeZine. That could have been a double with ease.
It could have been even more.
Here.
Whoops. The round to follow it, perhaps, but GE with a few stumbles. A man down. The Sage Wall doesn't cover off Heaven the way they wanted to. Leviathan, their best chance here of this A-site retake. They've not spotted Autumn, but he won't land his shot either. The trade's out, though, as Udaton found one. Slips back into the site as well. C's being thrown. It's going to delay that push, allows Udaton to get right back here towards Ticken, and they don't think he's around this spot, but Seto finds him anyways! And another under his belt gives Leviathan 4.
That's the guy that we were seeing in the last map. That's the guy that's been missing in this one. That is just raw individual brilliance coming out from Sato. Again, it's almost like what we were talking about with Autumn, where this guy is seemingly facing into an angle where someone is waiting for him, and he is just landing every single shot. That's going to put him one away from his ultimate as well, and that's it, 7-5. Going in with a double duelist comp into the attack. It's not a death sentence. It's just the manner in which this half has gone that has felt a little bit more scary.
Well, yeah, think about even looking at the timeline, what happens if Leviathan don't take the pistol round. We could have seen GE completely run away with this. Remember, it was 2 flawless rounds from Leviathan to start this out. A very different vibe as the rounds have gone on, but it looks like the road to recovery mounted at the last second. Patman much more aggressive this time, and he's got some backup while Autumn walks straight out. The Prowler went past him, flying under the radar, but doesn't strike the death blow. And the trades early on, Leviathan holding on for dear life, but there's a res available. It's going to be put in on the Crystal, but the trades for Leviathan, trying to keep things even. And SpikeZine's done a remarkable job. But despite it, they're going to have to fight back into this A site. TP's going to be denied. Plant found, one away from a showstopper, and utility online for GE. This is not an easy retake.
That's so annoying, because for Neon now, he's so far away. He was literally on the opposite side of the map. And although his teammate can get through that little bit quicker, he's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Autumn's positioning again. He's just been annoying throughout this map, but he doesn't land the shot. The wall bang from SpikeZine. This might just be his round. Facing off against Udaton in that 1v2 clutch. The first, a little bit too easy. SpikeZine so far ahead of his teammate, and now just holding that showstopper. The last one was clicked by mistake. This one is clicked to buy time, and that time already seeming like it's too far gone. The nade is perfect, and he's there to close it out in style. A Red Bull clutch gives GE their 8th round.
8-4 at the halftime, a commanding lead for GE. They look so strong down on that stage, and closing it with a Red Bull clutch has got to leave confidence sky high. Mistakes for Leviathan have to be corrected, and they're running out of time. Bounce back has to happen after the break. Welcome back, folks. 8-4. It's a big lead for GE, making waves across a very big pond. But for Leviathan, this is where they have to climb back. A great fracture behind them, but I think they'll be keen to forget the first half of Split.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like for either side, though, like going into this one, there's real potential with either of the comps. I think for Spike Zine, even though they didn't win that final round, like having that individual step up, Sato we saw in the round before as well, like they are the two that going into this attack half need to step up. And then although Harvey, he had his big moment, I think this Sage is going to be a general irritation. It already was. Obviously, I think the one benefit for Leviathan is they might not have to watch their back quite as much for Autumn. But weeding him out of mid, it's not going to be an easy task either.
Well, as you can see by looking at the timeline, half of the rounds for Leviathan came off the pistol. Let's hope they can find it here, or the return to form is going to take quite a while and need very few errors. But a pistol also is often talked about as a coin flip. Not really where you want to have to start your comeback, but that's one way to kick it off. Great pickup by King.
That was the aggression. Thrown in immediately. Patman, he has been playing this controller incredibly aggressively all the way through the map. Autumn now needs to have another high impact play, and even the nade just trying to maybe even force them into his position. He doesn't have a whole lot of support. His teammate is trying to re-aggress it towards B main, wants to try and hold on to some control, but look how passively King is sitting. Autumn dealt with. And Crystal needs to win this fight. He's got a teammate looking to try and lock in the other player. The problem, though, is that King's won his second fight of the round.
Yeah, looking really solid when it comes to the pistols.
Last player
It's the same
standing.
on Ecos as well. Something just activates in Leviathan. A clean start. And we could be on for the Thrifty. Yudotan, all that stands in their way. And okay, Thrifty no more, but a round win. Well, it seems assured for the attacking. That's a fake flash if ever I've seen one. Doesn't quite work out. It will be put to bed, but okay, still 3 more to go, and he's caught with a nade in hand. That's him done. King with his 4th of the round, and maybe they just wanted to give him the orb.
Yeah, you know, it's not going to be flawless, but I don't think they'll give a damn. The Sheriff of King puts him to the top of the board for his side, and honestly, all of these kills were fairly important. Like, he's being surrounded in this moment and manages to just play it perfectly with his positioning. That lifeline has now been picked up for Leviathan. And obviously, once again, there's not going to be much, if anything, invested for the defensive side. Far more reliant on their buy rounds. The fact is, a winning of a pistol in the last map might have meant we closed this in 2, which, I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad didn't happen.
Especially not after that first map. That was basically a first half.
Yeah. The problem will be, though, is if this series does slip from them, those pistols are probably going to be what becomes pretty defining. Now, for the defense at this stage, the real question is, do you actually try and go for exits? Do you try and do any damage? Or, and it looks like what they're going to do, just hide in the corner and go down to the spike.
Of course, if anybody goes pushing, you'll be happy to take a spare orb a little bit earlier. Spike Scene definitely...
Oh, it's Sato for sure.
Walking forward alongside Sato. Oh, that's a double for him. A chance for a little more and some orbs picked up indeed for Leviathan. Losses minimal. Again, they're still carrying those 2 rifles forward, which is the name of the game. And King's even going looking for another. It looks like he'll find it time dependent. No. Okay. He's backed away just at the wrong moment. But nonetheless, the climb back for Leviathan is well and truly underway. 2 rounds here off the back of the pistol, same as the first half. But this is where things slipped out of their control.
Yeah, the main question I was going to ask is how much are they actually going to put into this round? Because, as you said, there was a lot of light purchases. They didn't have too much in terms of rifles, but that normally means that you can then buy up the rifles going into the next round. So I think, yeah, it is going to be a very strong bonus. If anything, King's best weapon has been the Sheriff. So I would almost put this at a full buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a bad shout. I saw that pistol round. Didn't seem to matter what weapon their opponents had in hand. For GE, spread across the map. But they've got good slow abilities here towards the B site. The slow, obviously, being one of them. Paranoia online for Patman. This flash could be devastating. It's blinded both players. It's giving Sato an easy opening and a follow-up with the wallbang. Glorious work from the Phoenix on Leviathan, and the B site secured and a plank coming in on the back of it. This is about as good a start to a bonus like this as you could ever hope for.
Yeah, solid reveal from Blows made that kill come in so much easier. And for the remaining 3, this becomes tough. Sato is literally just standing there. He's trying to bait that he's not. He's walking up instead. You expect the Phoenix to come running into your face, and instead he calls the bluff. And that's the moment where they have to save. Bring the weaponry into the next round. We spoke about it. The difference between map 1 and this one is that if you can get Sato online like he was in the second, this Leviathan squad feels like a different beast, and this round was his and his alone. And
this is what GE are going to have to deal with. Normally when you get players and you keep them in that choke point, it's very difficult to get out of the choke point. But here, a Phoenix wall to cut off the site so they can first peek backside, see no one there. And once that flash goes through, the Neon is on you in an instant. And that's always going to be a possibility. You smoke them off, that could very well play to their advantage if they land that flash out of it. And no matter how far back you are, bet your ass, Spike Scene can be on you in a second. It's a great round for Leviathan. 3 in a row now. Economy built up nicely, and GE in a pretty rough spot for this round. We should see things go 8 and 8.
They've at least got a couple of weapons to play with, but this feels like the round for Leviathan to potentially even up that scoreline from such a massive deficit. And already Sato with that opening pick. It's going to make things that little bit tougher. All being claimed on the other side. Will at least be something to play with, but King has caught one more. He thought that that area of the map was safe. Instead, there's not much to play with. Let's listen in to Lev.
O que vai querer fazer?
Backline natin.
Vai juntar com vocês só.
Juntamos, vamos pro aqui B?
Vou pela meia com vocês.
Tem uma paranoia, tá? Quer splitar? Que a gente tá...
Não. Vai ligar a hora e abrir uma meia.
Tá.
Vai abrir aqui nós dois.
Bora.
Eu só te fiz o B, tá, guys? Botou B agora.
Bora. Vai abrir meio. Tô com você.
Nem vou aqui na caixa B.
Fade B.
Tá só, ainda se o cara taca...
Ah, tá, é só trade. Guys,
vamos fazer parede, tá?
AD segura bang?
Vai ficar aqui.
AD segura bang, hein? Pegando.
Guys, temos tempo, tá? Só trade aqui.
Well, you can hear the call to move back to B. That's where the finish is coming in. And Leviathan have an easy time. GE are now having to make a bit of a blind read, and their call is to move towards the A site. Wrong side of the map. So LEV find themselves an easy entry. And a 5v2. The question is, with all the damage done already, he was going to go for the orb and then the plant, but they've decided to distribute that differently. Time obviously a factor there as well. But yeah, I think at this point, GE just saved those weapons. It definitely looks like that was the idea. As they sit down now, bunker down towards the spawn. As far as this round goes for Leviathan, I love the ideas. They take opening fight on B, immediately reset to that mid control, and the patience on display, knowing they're up against a bit of a mix buy and not wanting to be caught off by the numbers. Waiting that long, got them autumn just walking up. Exactly what they needed to do.
But it's very controlled. I think that's important when, considering how that last half went, they were losing like to clutch moments even all the way to the end of the half. And basically coming in, winning the pistol, it seems to put them right back into the right headspace again. And that's something that I think a lot of people underestimate, that this is an incredibly young team. Like, other than King, who's been around the block at least a little bit, you're talking about 18 and 19-year-old players. When you win the pistol second round and come out with only 4 rounds in a half, I wouldn't blame you if you came out completely mentally boomed. You look at them in that round, perfectly controlled. It looks like they're right back in the headspace, and that's why you can see that pause coming through, because that hefty lead, that momentum that was there for GE has dissipated, and I think Frost has realized, okay, now we need to stop Leviathan from running away with this second half.
Exactly, a very different vibe when it comes to this half than what we've seen so far. Even going back to Fracture, the Leviathan, it feels like they really have found the solution, and like you said, this deep in a series as well. We've seen many a team just hit that mental boom. And with Leviathan being a young team as well, that's always going to be something that's in the back of our minds. But they've proven to be able to stand that test of time, even on the international stage. This timeout from GE definitely dangerous. This is a full buy that they're going into. If they can capture even a fraction of the light that they had over on Fracture, over on Pearl, this is going to be a completely different game. But a good sign for Leviathan, especially slowing it down, dealing with Autumn's late play to try to take space back, dealing with that low buy. Looked like very few mistakes.
Also, look at the credits. Look at the position they find themselves in just 4 rounds into the second half. The lowest credits are 5,900. So it's not just that GE need a round. They need to repeat rounds to make sure their opponents can't just buy back in again. Now, the one good thing, Yudotan, one away from that showstopper, but just look at the change of pace. And they're gone! They're gone! They've taken a pause and immediately it's over! 10 seconds into the round and G have to save! That couldn't have gone any worse for Global Esports.
They sent 3 players to ramp, and I think there was a wall up, it didn't matter. 3 players there, and moments later, the site is open for business. A save is being called, and, well, Tom, you just seconds ago pointed out where the credits were at for Leviathan. 5.9K on the lowest player. By the way, everyone else was up a lot higher, closer to that 7 mark. Well, now I think they're going to be in a bit of a stronger spot. If they survive with all 5 players here, we're talking max money across the board. We were neck and neck, but it felt like Leviathan had the upper hand, and now they've used it to chokeslam GE. Although they're only 1 round ahead, they're miles ahead in this half.
Oh, that's so rough. Like, the fact that you even have the right read of where they're going to be and you just get slaughtered. Like, that was less than 10 seconds. That round ended basically immediately. And okay, they'll at least get to hold on to a couple of the weapons. It's not quite going to be max cash across the entirety of the board, which is a silver lining. Really isn't a silver lining. But that's insanity. And that has got to bludgeon the confidence of GE. You're in the right place at the right time, but everything went wrong.
Yeah, as far as silver linings go, I think, well, guys, at least they can't buy 3 times in a row. Probably isn't what you want to be hearing on map 3
They probably can.
of an opening series. Leviathan, yeah, I suppose they probably can anyways. That's one hell of a start. He is just running around Spike Scene. Looks like he owns the place. He'll be shut down after 1 more, but enough should already be done. Leviathan running away with every fight. Patman may try his best, and he's got backup. But what he doesn't have is targets, because they have fled the site. Running to plant on A, but they might not even get a chance with only 1 man left. GE, they put up one hell of a fight. In fact, they started this series with dominance. But things have certainly changed in this final half of the series. Sees Leviathan hit another power level.
I feel like I'm going to end this game with egg on my face. I said that the one thing that this defensive side had was utility to delay. I don't know where it's been. I don't know where it's gone, because we are seeing opening kills come in the sub 5-second mark. It just runs straight up mid and killed 2 players. They know he's coming. It's not being subtle about it. And then it's just a domino effect.
Keep in mind, that's a team that won the first 2 rounds in the first half and got bodied from that point forward. And the vibes are immaculate. Double digits found for Leviathan. 2 rounds to the good. The economy stacked in their favor, and their opponents on a very low buy. It's even going to start with a fake to the B side. They want to drag the rotates, but B stand in position. Stand ready to fight. Sheriffs have spotted at least 2 more. They're looking for this battle. Now blows is down, and look what he had with him. Not only a rifle gifted, but the spikes on the floor now.
And this is a round that GE desperately need to convert. Your opponents have been winning, and they've been winning cleanly. An upset round, a spanner in the works, a knock to the confidence is imperative at this stage. If there's any way back into the map, it has to be here, it has to be now. In the past, you might talk about damage. The damage has become irrelevant. And a TP across the map. Everybody from GE is now here. Close angle, cleared. Sato already. But there come the trades, thick and fast, running it down. Only Neon standing in their way. Still hasn't been able to retrieve that spike.
30 seconds left.
And GE are not giving anything away. They know how important this round is.
They knew he was going to be spamming that as well. hoping someone was inside the smoke, but they'll give him the spike. You have 15 seconds. Where are you going to go? Plant needs to be found soon. 10 seconds till we can't plant anymore. And well, I think at this stage, he's given up on the round. Gonna take down as many as he can, but another award gifted to Autumn, and a MasterCard Thrifty keeps GE in this game.
Yeah, as said, imperative. They needed something to break that 6-round momentum. They needed a hero to step up to the plate, and they got a couple. Both Crystal and Yudotan.
10 seconds left.
And in fact, it was almost the entirety of the squad finding a kill with those sheriffs. They came out of absolutely nowhere, but that could just be enough to bring them back from the haze that they seem to be in. Still, Leviathan have the lead, and in case we hadn't hammered it home enough, they have enough money to buy.
Yeah, in case you missed that little talked about detail. Credit sat very high for Leviathan. Another full buy-in, presence towards the B site. Spat's looking dangerous, but that molly forced Pac-Man out of the corner. In the meantime, though, Leviathan. Oh, they've almost lost Sato.
That's okay, though, because he has his ult.
Yeah.
If he finds a spot to use it, that heals him back up.
Autumn. It's a big risk. Even walking through that in the first place, but now he's got the angle to hold on to. Orb about to fade, though. It's time to fall back.
Has to leave. This time a lot more tentative. Think back to those fast-paced winning rounds. We were talking about them being done in 10 seconds. Autumn is still trying to play with fire around this smoke instead. That ult's been used on the other side. It drags the eyes of the opponents, and that was the goal. It gives them some middle control. Still, Harvey has some utility to play with. If he can get one and throw the slow, instead he's gone. Spikescene wins that fight. Now the players within the B site are being surrounded, but it seems like they've realized back to the other side of the map they go. But can Yudotan be their demon, be the Reaper on the back of the A site?
They saw so many players on that B side. They might not expect him to be tucked in like this. We've seen it from him before, but now with 12 seconds left, one strike from Yudotan. Could have saved the day, but they'll still get the spike. Still moves to the side, and King cuts off the rotates. Pac-Man 1 against 4. The spike already planted, and he'll only get his first. 11 locked in for Leviathan. The lead with a bit more leeway to it.
Good mid-rounding again. The information fed through to the IGL to make that last-second decision, and also just the timing of where they swing onto Yudotan. He didn't really have a chance of getting more than one there. He had to commit to one of the angles. He knew there was a player behind him. Maybe he faces the other way, he gets both, but you could never know that. That's such a gamble. And that second timeout now called for Global Esports. Think back to the last half. Think to them 8-4. Winning a multitude of rounds in a row, 7 of 8 going their way, and now they sit 2 rounds down, and it's their coaching staff's last chance in regulation to save them from defeat.
Well, Leviathan's ability to keep themselves in this game has been impressive. You go back to Fracture, there were moments where it felt like it would slip away, and it's certainly, with a little bit of bias coming out of that first map, you can understand why. GE came in looking strong. They showed us that they had individuals across the board. Crystal had a life game to open up this series. Yudotan on map 2. My goodness, he was on fire. But now Leviathan have very much woken up. The lead is theirs and a chance to right the wrongs of this series so far. Well and truly within reach. They come into this round as well. Ults to play with. True on both sides. You have that pit. Person with the pit does currently have an operator, no shields. It's an unusual look, Tom. Maybe not the round we see the pick come into play. What is the idea behind this? Where's Autumn going?
I think just because it's been a game of smoke and mirrors in mid, he's going to try and just cut through that smoke with a knife. And that knife is a sniper rifle. The problem is, just look at the ruse that's almost being sold. It's been obliterated with the judge. They nerfed those, didn't they? I thought that wasn't allowed anymore. That operator gone. But this wasn't even the main game plan. This was almost just a ruse to give them space elsewhere.
They're going to drop
They're going to have to try and jump down together, but instead he's jumping towards them. 2 kills. Another halfway done. And pressure onto Pam, and he doesn't know how much control's already been taken by Leviathan. Another solid round from them. the ruse from SpikeZine sent through, and then the rest of the players were just making their way into mid. There's the pit on the other side as well. Surely there's no way back into this.
There's no way you even tried. Not when there's an AWP on the floor, not when Yudatan's already 40 HP. And look at the pit, it's formed perfectly going in towards that little hallway. You're never making it out of there alive. Even if you had the numbers, Leviathan on 12, guaranteed at this point. And considering how we started this out, Tom, it really does feel like the shoe's on the other foot now. Leviathan pushing and pulling the map perfectly, finding these pacey opening pickups as well, using that Neon Judge into the vent. They have full control of the map, and thinking back to Pearl, that was the problem. It was always the other way around.
The annoyance as well, if you're on the GE side, is that call is almost certainly you're going to do that. Maybe you just get Vents control, maybe you die and we get mid. Like, you're trying to pull people away so that we can get that control for free. Instead, he gets 2 and, well, almost a third kill.
2.5 men, yeah.
Yeah. And then the crazy thing is, well, we might call that like, oh, you throw a spanner in the works. Yep. He threw a grenade in the works. He basically blew up the whole round for GE before they even got started. Now it's a jumble sale. A sheriff, that operator saved a judge in the pit, but with no shields. This is a nightmare to try and climb back from, and Leviathan are right where they want to be.
Welcome to my world.
Paranoia for Patman's going to be used to try to delay them. You can already see the pace picked up by Leviathan, and they've managed to find the trade. Neon lays his life down, but the reward is clear. Favor for Leviathan now in what could be the final round. Viper's Pit already put into play. A res online, but, well, that player's not quite reachable, and Leviathan aren't even going to let them close to the site. Already pushing deep into the spawn, looking for this fight.
Going up. So much ground held. It's something that they just can't allow to happen. The Stinger, not the weapon for this round, but I was going to say it might be worth it in that scenario. They managed to cross, but 2 players into the spawn. It's going to be an issue. They need to get rid of them, and it's all just falling apart. The red's available, it's being used, but there's another player just waiting round the corner. And from the depths of defeat, Leviathan will climb back into the game. 13-9 victory. They take the series.
Well, they may be a young team, but